Self-doubt. The voice in our heads that tells us we're not good enough, that we can't do it, that we don't deserve success. Self-doubt can be a powerful force. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to control your life. You have the power to overcome it and step into the person you were always meant to be. Self-belief is the key to unlocking your full potential. Without it, you will always find yourself limiting your possibilities. You will avoid challenges, shrink away from opportunities, and never fully realize the greatness that is already within you. But with self-belief, you will find the courage to step out of your comfort zone and take risks that others might shy away from. Believing in yourself is the first step towards success, and without it, nothing else matters. Let's be honest, self-doubt is a natural part of life. Everyone has moments of uncertainty, moments when we question our abilities and worth. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is not your enemy. It's simply a signal that you're about to grow. When we face self-doubt, it's often because we are stepping into unknown territory, doing something we've never done before. And that's exactly where the magic happens, right beyond your comfort zone. The key is to understand that self-doubt doesn't define you. Your identity is not found in the mistakes of your past or in the judgment of others. You are more than your failures, and you are more than your doubts. Your true identity lies in your potential, the incredible gifts, talents, and abilities that are inside you, waiting to be discovered and developed. It is essential to believe in your worth and the incredible value you bring to the world. When you face doubts, don't shrink back. Instead, embrace your purpose. When you know why you're doing something, when you are clear on your purpose, you become unstoppable. Purpose gives you direction, and it gives you the strength to push through even when things seem impossible. Your purpose is bigger than your doubts. It's the force that can drive you forward, regardless of the challenges you face. And here's something important. Failure is not the end. It's simply the beginning of the next chapter. Failure doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're learning, evolving, and preparing for your next success. You see, there's no such thing as failure. There are only lessons. Each mistake you make is a step closer to your breakthrough. But here's the secret. You must take action. Action is the antidote to self-doubt. You may not have all the answers, and you may not be certain of the outcome, but you must step forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. You can choose to be paralyzed by doubt, or you can choose to take one small step forward today. Every step counts. Another critical aspect of overcoming self-doubt is your environment. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. When you are around those who support and encourage you, their belief in your abilities can help you see yourself differently. You can draw strength from their positivity and inspiration, and in turn, believe in yourself even more. Now let's talk about your words. Your words have power. They create your reality. If you're constantly speaking negativity into your life, that is exactly what you will manifest. But when you speak life, when you speak positivity, you will begin to see the changes in your life. Challenge the negative thoughts with affirmations that remind you of who you are and what you are capable of. Your words shape your reality, so choose them wisely. And as you journey through life, don't forget the importance of gratitude. It's easy to focus on what you don't have or what you haven't achieved yet. But when you take time to reflect on what you've already accomplished, you begin to shift your mindset. Gratitude is the antidote to self-doubt because it helps you see that you're already successful in many ways. Gratitude opens your eyes to the abundance in your life, and that abundance will fuel your confidence. Understand that personal growth is a continuous journey. Overcoming self-doubt isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. Be patient with yourself. Commit to growth, even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable. You are not who you were yesterday, and you're not yet who you will become tomorrow. Each day you are becoming better, stronger, and more capable. So I challenge you today to silence the voice of self-doubt. Believe in yourself. Embrace your purpose. Take action, learn from your failures, surround yourself with positivity, and speak life into your future. You have everything you need to achieve your dreams. You just need to believe it. Self-belief is the very foundation upon which all success is built. It's the internal conviction that you are capable of achieving your goals and fulfilling your potential, regardless of the challenges you may face along the way. Without self-belief, it's easy to be swayed by the opinions of others or by your own doubts, which can prevent you from taking action or seizing opportunities. But when you believe in yourself, you unlock a world of possibilities. When you have self-belief, you begin to understand that your worth is not determined by external circumstances or by the opinions of others. Instead, your worth is inherent, stemming from the very fact that you exist, that you have a purpose, and that you have unique talents and abilities. This belief fuels your actions, empowers you to pursue your goals with confidence, and allows you to overcome obstacles that may otherwise seem insurmountable. Self-belief is not just about confidence in your ability. Life is unpredictable, and there will always be moments of doubt, fear, and challenge. But with self-belief, you have the strength to keep going when others might quit. You don't let setbacks define you or deter you. Instead, you view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, knowing that you have the ability to adapt and overcome. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't rely on the approval or validation of others to feel worthy. Too often, we seek external affirmation to feel validated, but this can be a dangerous trap because external validation is fleeting and unreliable. With self-belief, you become your own source of strength. You trust your decisions and know that, regardless of the outcome, you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. This inner confidence is what allows you to take risks, pursue your dreams, and step into new and unfamiliar territories with a sense of certainty. The power of self-belief lies in its ability to shape your actions, mindset, and future. It gives you the drive to keep moving forward, even in the face of obstacles. It allows you to see opportunities where others might see failure, and it enables you to stay focused on your goals, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. When you believe in yourself, you begin to understand that you are worthy of success, happiness, and fulfillment. And you will stop at nothing to achieve your dreams. Self-doubt is a natural part of the human experience. It's that voice inside your head that questions your abilities, your worth, and your decisions. It creeps in when you're about to take a big step forward, when you're about to embrace change, or when you face something unfamiliar. It's the feeling that you're not good enough, or that you don't deserve success. And often it's rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection. It's a powerful emotion that can paralyze you if you let it, but understanding it is the first step in overcoming it. Self-doubt often stems from past experiences, failures, rejections, or even harsh criticisms. These events can create a narrative in your mind that tells you you're not capable or that you're bound to fail. The mind has a tendency to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. And over time, these experiences can erode your confidence and create a cycle of self-doubt. In some cases, the doubt may be so ingrained that you begin to internalize it as a part of who you are. It becomes a part of your identity. And this can be incredibly limiting. Another factor that feeds self-doubt is comparison. In today's world, it's easy to look at others and feel inadequate. Social media, for instance, constantly shows us highlight reels of others' lives, successes, achievements, and moments of triumph. It's easy to think, why can't I do that? Or they have it all together, but I don't. This comparison can amplify self-doubt, making you feel like you're falling short or not measuring up to the standards set by others. But the truth is, everyone has their own struggles, their own challenges, and their own doubts, even if they're not visible to the outside world. Self-doubt also often arises from perfectionism, the belief that unless everything is perfect, it's not worth doing, or that you're not good enough unless you meet some unrealistic standard. This kind of thinking can prevent you from taking action at all. It creates a cycle of procrastination and missed opportunities because you're always waiting for the perfect moment or outcome. The need for perfection can paralyze you, making you second guess every decision, every step you take, and every move you make. But in reality, perfection doesn't exist, and the pursuit of it often leads to stagnation and frustration. Yet despite how powerful self-doubt can feel, it is not invincible. Self-doubt thrives on inaction, uncertainty, and fear. It grows louder when you avoid challenges, ignore opportunities, or shrink away from discomfort. However, the moment you confront it, take action in spite of it, and push through those uncomfortable feelings, you weaken its hold over you. What's crucial to understand is that self-doubt is not a reflection of who you truly are or your potential. It's a temporary state of mind that can be overcome with time, effort, and resilience. Everyone experiences it, from the most successful people to those who are just starting their journeys. The key is not to let it control you or dictate your actions. Instead, use it as a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and growing. Every time you face self-doubt, and every time you push past it, you become stronger, more confident, and more aware of your own abilities. Your identity is the very core of who you are. It is the essence of your being, the collection of your values, experiences, and inherent strengths. Understanding your true identity is one of the most powerful tools in overcoming self-doubt and unlocking your potential. Too often, we allow external factors such as society's expectations, other people's opinions, or past failures to define us, when in reality, our true identity is not determined by any of these things. It is shaped by the unique combination of talents, passions, and experiences that make you who you are. When you begin to understand and embrace this, your identity becomes your greatest strength. Many of us fall into the trap of trying to live up to someone else's idea of who we should be. Whether it's based on societal standards, family expectations, or the influence of others, we sometimes start to shape ourselves into something we are not, forgetting who we truly are in the process. This disconnection between who we are and who we believe we should be creates inner conflict, which can fuel self-doubt and insecurity. The truth is, you're not defined by anyone else's standards but your own. Your worth is not determined by how well you meet others' expectations or how many accolades you collect. It is determined by your inherent value as a person and the unique contributions you can offer to the world. The more you align yourself with your true identity, the more confident and resilient you will become in the face of challenges. When you know who you are, no one's criticism can shake you and no failure can define your future. Your identity becomes a source of stability and power, a constant reminder that you have what it takes to succeed, regardless of the obstacles you may face. It's about believing in your purpose and understanding that you have something to contribute that no one else can. The journey of self-discovery, although sometimes difficult, leads to a profound realization that you are enough, just as you are, and that you have everything within you to create the life you desire. When you embrace your true identity, you begin to realize that your past does not dictate your future. Many people allow past mistakes, failures, or regrets to define their sense of self, but your identity is not based on those moments. Your past is simply a collection of experiences that have shaped you, not the end of your story. What matters most is how you choose to move forward and what you believe about your ability to grow, learn, and adapt. Understanding that your identity is not tied to your past allows you to let go of guilt, shame, or any other negative emotions that may have been holding you back. At the core of your identity is your purpose. When you tap into your purpose, you unlock a deeper sense of confidence and direction. Purpose gives you clarity, focus, and the strength to overcome doubts. When you know why you are here and what you are meant to do, it becomes much easier to rise above challenges and stay grounded in your beliefs. It serves as a compass, guiding you through life and reminding you of what truly matters. People who live in alignment with their purpose are often more resilient because their identity is tied to something greater than themselves. Their actions, decisions, and perseverance are driven by a deep understanding of who they are and what they are meant to contribute to the world. Your identity is also deeply connected to your inner strengths, qualities like resilience, creativity, compassion, and determination. These strengths are part of who you are, and when you connect with them, they become the foundation for overcoming obstacles. In times of difficulty, your identity will serve as a constant reminder that you have the ability to rise above, no matter the circumstances. You are capable of much more than you realize, and the more you connect with your true self, the more you can tap into those strengths. The power of your identity lies in the realization that you are whole and complete, just as you are. There is no need to compare yourself to anyone else or strive to be someone you're not. The world needs you to show up as yourself, to embrace your individuality, and to live with authenticity. When you live authentically, you create space for others to do the same, and you become a source of inspiration for those around you. Confidence rooted in your identity is not about arrogance or superiority. It's about knowing who you are, standing firm in that knowledge, and offering the best of yourself to the world. Your true self is your greatest strength. Embrace it, and you will find the courage to face anything that comes your way. Purpose is the driving force behind every meaningful action in life. It is the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the fire that fuels your ambition, and the guiding star that keeps you on course through the ups and downs of life. When you have a clear sense of purpose, it becomes far easier to believe in yourself and your ability to achieve great things. Because purpose gives your life meaning and direction. It allows you to focus on what truly matters and filters out the distractions and noise that often lead to self-doubt. Without purpose, it's easy to feel lost or aimless. But when you know your why, everything else falls into place. Your purpose is personal to you. It is what resonates with your soul and aligns with your values, passions, and talents. It can come from your desire to help others, create something beautiful, or simply pursue your dreams. It doesn't always have to be grandiose or world-changing. Your purpose can be as simple as being the best version of yourself, or making a positive impact in the lives of those around you. The beauty of purpose is that it provides clarity in a world that can often feel chaotic or uncertain. When you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to navigate through challenges and stay focused on the bigger picture. Having a sense of purpose transforms how you view obstacles and setbacks. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable roadblocks, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth. When your purpose is clear, every challenge becomes a lesson, and every setback a stepping stone on the path to achieving your ultimate goal. This shift in perspective allows you to face difficulties with resilience and determination rather than being weighed down by self-doubt or fear of failure. Purpose gives you the strength to keep moving forward even when the road gets tough. Purpose also serves as a filter for decision making. When you are clear on what truly matters to you, the decisions you make are rooted in your values and aligned with your ultimate goals. You are no longer swayed by external influences or the expectations of others. Instead, your purpose guides you, helping you to make choices that are in line with your personal vision and aspirations. It empowers you to say no to distractions and yes to opportunities that will bring you closer to fulfilling your potential. A strong sense of purpose provides motivation even during moments of doubt. Self-doubt often creeps in when you're uncertain about your path or unsure of your ability to succeed. However, when your purpose is clear, it serves as a constant reminder of why you started in the first place. It gives you the motivation to push through difficult times and continue working toward your goals, even when things don't seem to be going your way. Purpose provides the energy and the drive to keep going, and it helps you stay grounded in the belief that the work you're doing is meaningful and worthwhile. Your purpose also creates a sense of fulfillment that extends beyond material achievements. While success and external validation are rewarding, true fulfillment comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your purpose. The feeling of contributing to something greater than yourself, whether it's through helping others, creating something impactful, or simply living authentically, brings a deep sense of satisfaction that cannot be replicated by external rewards. This fulfillment boosts your self-belief and reinforces the idea that you are on the right path. Purpose is not something you find overnight. It is a journey of discovery that requires patience and introspection. It takes time to truly understand what drives you and what aligns with your heart. But once you find your purpose, everything changes. It shifts your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, from a mindset of fear and doubt to one of confidence and possibility. With purpose, you can tap into your full potential, not because you are perfect, but because you have a clear vision and a strong reason for moving forward. When you are rooted in purpose, you stop questioning your worth and start believing in your ability to make a meaningful impact in the world. Purpose gives you the power to rise above self-doubt. Tap into your strengths and believe that you are capable of achieving greatness. As failure is often seen as the ultimate defeat, the end of a journey, or reflection of our inadequacy, society frequently associates failure with shame and discouragement, urging us to avoid it at all costs. But the reality is that failure is not the end. It is simply a part of the process. It is a stepping stone, a lesson, and a necessary component of growth. When you begin to redefine failure, you free yourself from the paralyzing fear that comes with it and open yourself up to a world of opportunity. Failure should not be seen as a reflection of your worth, but rather as an experience that provides valuable insights and lessons. Every failure teaches you something new about yourself, your limits, your strengths, and areas where you can improve. It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up and keep moving forward. Each time you fail, you gain a better understanding of what works and what doesn't, allowing you to make more informed decisions in the future. Failure is an essential part of the learning process, and without it, there can be no growth. In fact, failure is often a sign that you are pushing boundaries, stepping outside your comfort zone, and trying something new. People who have never failed have never truly challenged themselves. True success is not about avoiding failure, but about using it as a tool to keep moving forward. Every successful person has encountered failure along the way. They didn't let failure define them or stop them from reaching their goals. Instead, they used failure as motivation to persist, to improve, and to evolve. What separates successful people from those who give up is their ability to learn from their failures and keep going despite them. The key to redefining failure is to shift your mindset from one of fear to one of acceptance. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it as part of the process. Understand that it is not a personal indictment of your abilities, but a natural result of taking risks and venturing into the unknown. By doing so, you free yourself from the fear of making mistakes, which allows you to take bold actions and pursue your dreams with confidence. Every time you take a step forward, even if it results in failure, you are moving closer to success because you're learning, growing, and evolving along the way. Failure also helps you build resilience. The more you fail and get back up, the stronger and more adaptable you become. Over time, you develop a greater capacity to handle setbacks and obstacles without being discouraged. Failure teaches you perseverance and determination, two qualities that are essential to long-term success. The ability to keep going when things aren't going well is often what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who give up too soon. When you see failure as part of the journey, it becomes easier to stay motivated and committed, even during tough times. Another important aspect of redefining failure is understanding that it is not permanent. Failure does not define you as a person, nor does it determine your future. It is simply a moment in time, a temporary setback that can be overcome. It's important to remember that many of the world's greatest success stories are built upon a foundation of repeated failures. Those who achieved greatness did not let their failures define them. They used those failures as stepping stones, as part of the process of building something meaningful. When you redefine failure, you also redefine success. Success is not about avoiding failure, but about how you respond to it. It is about resilience, perseverance, and the willingness to keep moving forward regardless of the obstacles you face. Success is about learning from your mistakes and improving, taking risks, and being willing to fail forward. When you embrace failure as part of the journey, success becomes a natural outcome of your efforts and persistence. Failure is not something to fear or avoid, but something to embrace and learn from. It is an essential part of personal growth, success, and the pursuit of your dreams. When you stop viewing failure as the end and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth, you free yourself from the paralyzing grip of self-doubt and fear. You begin to realize that failure is not something that happens to you, but something you can use to propel yourself forward and achieve your greatest potential. Taking action despite fear is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your journey towards success and personal growth. Fear is a natural emotion that everyone experiences, especially when faced with the unknown, the uncertain, or the challenging. It often arises in moments where we are about to take a big step, whether it's starting something new, making a bold decision, or stepping out of our comfort zones. While fear is a normal part of being human, it doesn't have to control us. The key is learning to take action in spite of fear. Because waiting for fear to go away before you act can result in missed opportunities and stagnation. Fear is a protective instinct, often designed to keep us safe, but it can also hold us back from reaching our full potential. It's a response to perceived danger, whether real or imagined, and it can create self-doubt and hesitation. Fear makes us question our abilities, worry about failure, and sometimes even doubt our worth. But what we often fail to realize is that fear is not an indication of inability. It's simply a sign that we're stretching beyond our limits and into new territory. The presence of fear means that you are growing, that you are on the edge of something significant, and that you are about to experience something new, something that will lead you to greater strength, wisdom, and achievement. When you take action despite fear, you show yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. Fear may never fully disappear, but you can learn to act in spite of it. This means not waiting for the perfect moment when all the fear has subsided, but moving forward even when the fear is present. It requires courage. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward in the face of it. The more you act despite fear, the more confidence you build, and the more you begin to trust yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Taking action also creates momentum. Often, fear and hesitation keep us stuck in a cycle of inaction. We become paralyzed, overthinking every decision and worrying about every possible outcome. But the simple act of moving forward, no matter how small the step, helps break this cycle. Action creates progress, and progress builds confidence. Each step you take, even if it feels insignificant, leads you closer to your goal. And the more you move forward, the less power fear has over you. The key to overcoming fear is to keep moving even when it feels uncomfortable, because action brings clarity. Taking action in the face of fear forces you to confront it directly. It's easy to let fear linger in your mind, growing larger with every passing moment. But when you take action, you shift your focus from fear to solution-taking action. In the face of fear forces you to confront it directly. It's easy to let fear linger in your mind, growing larger with every passing moment. But when you take action, you shift your focus from fear to solution. You focus on what needs to be done rather than the possible consequences of inaction. By doing so, you show yourself that fear is often exaggerated in our minds. Most of what we fear never comes to fruition, and taking action helps to demystify the unknown. You begin to realize that the worst-case scenario is rarely as catastrophic as your imagination makes it out to be. Fear is also a natural part of growth and transformation. Every new step you take, every new challenge you face will feel unfamiliar and possibly even intimidating. But it is in those moments when fear is at its peak that the greatest potential for growth. Fear often arises when we are about to break through to the next level of our lives, whether it's in our career, relationships, or personal development. Fear is a signpost that you're on the edge of transformation. By taking action despite it, you move past your limitations and into new possibilities. When you act despite fear, you also build resilience. You teach yourself that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty. Each time you face your fear and take action anyway, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. This resilience strengthens your belief in yourself and your abilities, making it easier to take action the next time fear arises. Over time, your fear becomes less overwhelming and more manageable because you learn to see it as a normal part of the process, not something that holds you back. Taking action despite fear is essential for breaking free from the confines of your comfort zone. Comfort zones can feel safe, but they're also limiting. They keep you from reaching your full potential and prevent you from experiencing the growth that comes from stepping into the unknown. Fear is the gateway to new experiences, new lessons, and new opportunities. And by taking action despite it, you expand your boundaries and open yourself up to a world of possibilities. The fear you feel will never completely disappear, but you can learn to live with it, manage it, and still take bold action. Fear is a part of life, but it doesn't have to dictate your actions. When you decide to take action in spite of it, you make a powerful choice to grow, to learn, and to move closer to the life you want to create. The more you practice taking action despite fear, the more you realize that fear doesn't define you. Your courage, your ability to act, and your willingness to push through discomfort are what will shape your future. The environment we find ourselves in has a profound impact on our mindset, behaviors, and overall well-being. From the physical spaces we occupy to the people we interact with, our surroundings shape who we are, how we think, and how we approach life's challenges. We often underestimate just how much influence our environment has, but the truth is it plays a crucial role in shaping our attitudes, our productivity, and even our sense of self-worth. When we surround ourselves with positivity, support, and inspiration, we are more likely to thrive. Conversely, when we are surrounded by negativity, doubt, or toxicity, our growth and progress can be stunted. The people we associate with are perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of our environment. They can either uplift us or drag us down, and their attitudes and beliefs often influence our own. If we spend time with individuals who are supportive, encouraging, and believe in our potential, we are more likely to believe in ourselves. Positive environments foster positive thinking, which leads to better decision-making, greater resilience, and a stronger sense of purpose. On the other hand, toxic environments filled with negativity, criticism, or people who constantly doubt us can undermine our self-esteem and make it harder to achieve our goals. We must be intentional about the people we allow into our lives because they directly impact how we see ourselves and the world around us. Beyond the people around us, the physical space we inhabit also plays a significant role in shaping our mindset. The way our environment is organized, whether it's our home, workspace, or community, has a direct impact on our mood and productivity. A cluttered, chaotic space can make us feel overwhelmed, stressed, and unproductive, while a clean, organized environment can promote clarity, focus, and creativity. The spaces we create for ourselves should align with the goals and values we hold. For instance, if we want to cultivate a sense of calm and mindfulness, a peaceful, uncluttered environment will help foster that mindset. If we're striving for creativity and innovation, having a space filled with inspiration and resources will encourage that flow of ideas. Our environment also influences our habits and behaviors. It can either make it easier or more difficult to adopt the positive habits we want to develop. For example, if you want to live a healthier lifestyle, being in an environment that supports that goal, whether it's having healthy food readily available or exercising in a space that motivates you, makes it much easier to stay on track. Conversely, if you're surrounded by unhealthy choices, such as junk food or a sedentary environment, it can be much harder to maintain those healthy habits. The choices available to us in our environment directly impact the actions we take. And often, we need to reshape our surroundings to align with the goals we have set for ourselves. The media and information we consume are also part of our environment and have a powerful influence on our beliefs and perceptions. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information through social media, news outlets, and various other platforms. What we choose to expose ourselves to shapes our attitudes, emotions, and worldview. Negative news, toxic social media, or constant comparisons to others can contribute to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, or self-doubt. On the other hand, consuming uplifting, educational, and empowering content can inspire us, expand our perspectives, and boost our self-confidence. It's important to be mindful of what we consume, as it significantly affects our mental state and consequently our actions. The environment also affects our ability to stay motivated and focused. A positive, supportive environment encourages us to take action and pursue our goals with vigor, while a negative environment can lead to procrastination, self-doubt, and a lack of motivation. When we are surrounded by people who believe in our vision, and when our environment reflects our aspirations, we are more likely to stay focused on our goals and take consistent steps toward achieving them. The energy in the spaces we occupy, whether it's the people or the physical surroundings, can either fuel our progress or drain us. At times, we may find ourselves in environments that don't support our goals or align with our values. In such situations, it becomes essential to take responsibility for creating a space that nurtures our growth. This could involve seeking out new social circles, adjusting our physical surroundings, or curating the type of content we consume. It may also mean making bold decisions to distance ourselves from toxic influences, or seeking out mentors, groups, or communities that encourage our development. While we can't always control the external circumstances, we do have the power to choose how we respond to them and how we create our own environments, both internally and externally. The influence of our environment cannot be underestimated. It shapes the way we see ourselves, the choices we make, and the direction in which we move forward in life. By curating environments, whether physical, social, or informational, that align with our goals, values, and dreams, we set ourselves up for success. When we are surrounded by positivity, support, and inspiration, we are better equipped to overcome challenges, take action, and believe in our potential. Our environment has the power to either elevate us or hold us back, and by consciously choosing the environments we immerse ourselves in, we can unlock our fullest potential and create the life we desire. Positive affirmations are a powerful tool that can transform your mindset and shape the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. So at their core, affirmations are positive, empowering statements that challenge and replace negative thoughts, doubts, and self-limiting beliefs with thoughts of possibility, strength, and confidence. When practiced consistently, affirmations can reprogram your subconscious mind, helping you to break free from the patterns of self-doubt, fear, and insecurity that often hold you back from reaching your full potential. The words we speak have an incredible influence on our lives, and by choosing to speak words of positivity and empowerment, we can change the direction of our thoughts and actions. One of the key benefits of using positive affirmations is their ability to influence our self-image. Many of us carry around internalized negative beliefs about ourselves, often formed from past experiences, failures, or the expectations of others. These beliefs can shape how we approach challenges, how we see our capabilities, and ultimately how we believe we deserve to succeed. Positive affirmations counteract these limiting beliefs by reminding us of our inherent worth, talents, and potential. They serve as a tool for self-empowerment, allowing us to see ourselves not as the sum of our past mistakes, but as individuals capable of growth, change, and achievement. By affirming our value and abilities, we can cultivate a mindset of confidence and self-love that propels us toward our goals. Affirmations are also incredibly effective in overcoming fear and anxiety. Fear often holds us back from taking action or stepping outside of our comfort zones, and it can create a barrier to achieving our dreams. When we consistently affirm that we are capable, strong, and resilient, we begin to shift our perspective on fear. Instead of viewing it as something insurmountable, we see it as a natural part of growth and an opportunity to push beyond our limits. Affirmations provide the mental fortitude needed to confront fear head-on, allowing us to take action despite the discomfort or uncertainty that may arise. Over time, as we affirm our courage and abilities, we become less intimidated by fear and more willing to take bold steps toward our aspirations. Another powerful aspect of affirmations is their ability to foster a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the present moment. In a world where we often focus on what we lack or what we have yet to achieve, affirmations can help shift our focus to the abundance already present in our lives. By affirming our gratitude for the blessings we have, whether big or small, we create a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. This shift in perspective not only enhances our mental and emotional well-being, but it also attracts more positive experiences and opportunities into our lives. When we affirm the good that is already in our lives, we open ourselves up to receive even more of it. Positive affirmations also have the ability to enhance our motivation and drive. The words we speak to ourselves can either inspire us to take action or leave us feeling stuck and defeated. By consistently affirming our goals, our vision, and our capacity for affirmations keep our goals front and center, serving as daily reminders of what we are working toward. They help us stay aligned with our purpose, especially during challenging times when the road may seem unclear or difficult. The power of affirmation lies in its ability to keep us grounded in our aspirations and motivated to take the necessary steps to achieve them, even when obstacles arise. Affirmations are a powerful tool for creating a positive mindset and maintaining a sense of inner peace. Life can be unpredictable, and we may encounter setbacks, disappointments, and challenges along the way. However, by affirming our ability to handle whatever comes our way, we cultivate a mindset of resilience and acceptance. Affirmations help us stay centered, even during the most difficult times, by reminding us that we have the inner strength to overcome adversity. By affirming our ability to stay calm, focused, and positive, we create a sense of peace within ourselves that is not easily disturbed by external circumstances. The impact of affirmations extends beyond our own lives and can influence our relationships with others as well. When we affirm our worth, our kindness, and our ability to contribute positively to the lives of others, we radiate that energy outward. Positive affirmations not only reinforce our sense of self, but also shape how we interact with the world. They encourage us to approach others with empathy, compassion, and understanding, fostering deeper and more meaningful connections. As we affirm our own positive qualities, we naturally begin to see and acknowledge the positive qualities in others, creating an atmosphere of mutual respect and encouragement. Incorporating positive affirmations into daily life can be simple, yet incredibly transformative. Whether you say them aloud, write them down, or silently repeat them to yourself, the key is consistency. The more you practice affirmations, the more deeply they become ingrained in your subconscious mind. Over time, you will begin to notice a shift in your thoughts, attitudes, and actions. What once felt impossible or out of reach will begin to feel attainable, and your belief in your own power and potential will grow stronger with each passing day. Positive affirmations are not a quick fix, but a long-term practice that, when committed to, has the power to change your life in profound ways. Positive affirmations are a reminder that you are in control of your thoughts, and by extension, your reality. The words you speak shape the life you lead. By choosing to affirm your strength, resilience, and potential, you pave the way for a future filled with possibility, growth, and success. Positive affirmations can be the catalyst that shifts your mindset from one of limitation to one of boundless opportunity, allowing you to step into your fullest potential and live a life of purpose and fulfillment. Gratitude is often considered simply a positive emotion, a sense of thankfulness for the good things in life. But when practiced intentionally, gratitude becomes a powerful tool for building confidence. Many people struggle with self-doubt, insecurity, or the fear that they're not good enough. These negative feelings often arise from a focus on what we lack, what we haven't achieved, or the things that have gone wrong in our lives. Gratitude, however, shifts our focus. Instead of fixating on our shortcomings or the obstacles we face, gratitude helps us recognize and celebrate the abundance in our lives, both big and small. By acknowledging the positive things we have and the strengths we possess, we naturally begin to build a stronger sense of self-worth and confidence. Instead of comparing ourselves to others or measuring our worth by external standards, we start to appreciate our unique qualities and the progress we've made. Gratitude helps us see the value in our own journey, even if we haven't yet reached all of our goals. It reminds us of the skills, talents, and experiences we've accumulated over time. Every small victory, every lesson learned, and every personal growth moment becomes something to be thankful for. This shift in perspective naturally boosts our self-esteem and strengthens our belief in our ability to succeed. When we acknowledge how far we've come, we're more likely to trust ourselves and our abilities to overcome future challenges. Gratitude also plays a critical role in overcoming negative self-talk, which often undermines confidence. Many of us are our own harshest critics, constantly focusing on our perceived flaws or mistakes. When we cultivate gratitude, we begin to challenge those negative thoughts. Instead of berating ourselves for what we haven't done or the mistakes we've made, we learn to appreciate the lessons those experiences have provided. Gratitude encourages us to be kinder to ourselves, recognizing that we are worthy of praise, not just for our achievements, but for our resilience, growth, and efforts. This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion fosters a healthier self-humility, which in turn builds confidence. In addition to boosting self-humility, gratitude also encourages a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, learning, and perseverance. When we practice gratitude, we acknowledge not just what we have, but also the potential for growth and improvement. We begin to appreciate the process of becoming better instead of only focusing on the end result. This mindset allows us to see setbacks as opportunities for learning rather than signs of failure. When we are grateful for the lessons that come from challenges, we become more resilient and confident in our ability to keep going no matter the obstacles. Gratitude is also closely linked to a sense of abundance. In a society that often promotes scarcity, focusing on what we don't have or what's lacking in our lives, gratitude helps us tap into an abundance mindset. When we regularly practice gratitude, we start to realize that there is always something to be thankful for, no matter how small. This mindset shift helps us feel more secure in ourselves and our circumstances, which boosts confidence. We become more comfortable with who we are because we are no longer constantly searching for validation or fulfillment outside of ourselves. Instead, we recognize that we already have everything we need within us and that our worth is not dependent on external factors. By actively practicing gratitude, we also become more aware of the support we have from others, which can be incredibly empowering. It's easy to overlook the people who uplift us, encourage us, and believe in us, especially when we're focused on our own struggles. Gratitude helps us recognize the positive influence others have in our lives. When we acknowledge their support, we feel less alone and more capable of achieving our goals. Gratitude reminds us that we are not an island. We have a network of people who care about us and who believe in our potential. This awareness can deepen our sense of connection and enhance our confidence, knowing that we have the love and support of others to lean on when we need it. Gratitude helps us embrace the present moment. Too often we focus on the future, on the things we still want to achieve, and this focus on what's next can cause anxiety and self-doubt. Gratitude pulls us back to the here and now, helping us appreciate what we have in this moment. By practicing gratitude for the present, we stop waiting for something external to change in order to feel good about ourselves. We learn to appreciate ourselves just as we are right now. This acceptance of the present moment cultivates inner peace, which directly enhances our confidence. When we feel at peace with ourselves and our lives, we can approach challenges and opportunities with greater assurance and self-belief. Gratitude strengthens our ability to take action. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we naturally build a sense of positivity and energy that motivates us to move forward. Gratitude allows us to see possibilities instead of obstacles, which encourages us to take risks and pursue our goals. As we take more actions toward our aspirations, our confidence grows because we see that we are capable of making progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, reinforces our belief in ourselves and our ability to succeed. In essence, gratitude is more than just an emotion. It's a powerful practice that can shape our confidence and self-belief. By shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, we naturally begin to see ourselves in a more positive light. Gratitude helps us appreciate our strength, embrace our growth, and become more resilient in the face of challenges. When practiced consistently, gratitude doesn't just boost our confidence, it transforms the way we see ourselves and the world, empowering us to take bold action toward the life we want to create. Commitment to personal growth is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. It signifies a deep, ongoing dedication to improving oneself in various aspects of life, whether it's emotional, intellectual, physical, or spiritual. The path of personal growth is not a linear one, and it's not always easy. It requires introspection, discipline, and most importantly, a willingness to face discomfort and uncertainty. However, the benefits of committing to personal growth are immeasurable. When we decide to make growth a priority in our lives, we set ourselves on a course of continual improvement, learning, and transformation. One of the foundational aspects of commitment to personal growth is the willingness to embrace change. Change is often viewed with resistance, as it can push us out of our comfort zones and challenge the beliefs, habits, and mindsets we've held for years. But personal growth can only happen if we are willing to evolve. It is important to recognize that growth does not always mean achieving perfection or having it all figured out. Sometimes growth simply means moving beyond old ways of thinking, acting, and reacting. By committing to growth, we allow ourselves to evolve into better versions of ourselves, even if the process is messy and imperfect. Personal growth also requires a strong sense of self-awareness. To improve, we must first understand where we are and where we need to go. Self-awareness is the ability to look inward and honestly assess our strengths, weaknesses, values, and desires. Without self-awareness, personal growth can feel aimless or disconnected from our true goals. When we take the time to truly know ourselves, we create a clear map for our growth journey. This level of understanding helps us make better decisions, prioritize the right areas of our lives, and focus on the habits and behaviors that will propel us forward. The commitment to personal growth also means taking responsibility for our own lives and actions. It's easy to blame external circumstances or other people for our shortcomings. But true growth happens when we own our choices, acknowledge our mistakes, and actively seek ways to improve. By taking responsibility for our actions, we stop waiting for things outside of ourselves to change and instead begin to make the changes that will have the greatest impact on our lives. This sense of ownership over our lives empowers us to take control and move toward the future we envision without relying on external factors to dictate our progress. Another key element of personal growth is the willingness to be uncomfortable. Growth rarely happens within our comfort zones. It requires us to stretch, to challenge our assumptions, and to step into new and often difficult experiences. Committing to personal growth means embracing discomfort as part of the journey. Whether it's facing fears, learning new skills, or confronting painful truths about ourselves, discomfort is a necessary catalyst for transformation. The more we push ourselves beyond what feels familiar or easy, the more we open ourselves up to new opportunities for growth, wisdom, and self-discovery. Consistency is also essential in the commitment to personal growth. It's easy to get excited about change or improvement in the beginning, but sustaining that momentum over time is what leads to real transformation. Personal growth is not something that can be achieved overnight, but rather through continuous effort and practice. Small, consistent actions each day, whether it's learning something new, practicing mindfulness, or taking care of our bodies, accumulate over time and result in lasting change. The key is to stay committed, even when progress feels slow or difficult.
The future is not in your hands. It is in God's hands. Too many people live in fear of tomorrow because they think their future depends on their own ability, their own strength, their own intelligence. But I came to tell you, your future is not your responsibility to control. It is your responsibility to trust. God has already written your destiny before you were even born. He told the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That means before your first breath, God had a plan for your life. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to manipulate people to get it. Your future is already secured in His divine purpose. And the reason many people live in anxiety, frustration, and depression is because they are trying to control what is not theirs to control. But the moment you surrender your plans to the one who created you, that's when you find peace. The future is not something to be feared. It is something to be trusted in God's hands. He holds time in His palm. He knows the end from the beginning. What looks like uncertainty to you is already completed in His sight. You may be facing obstacles today. Maybe you're dealing with financial struggles, family problems, or sickness in your body. Maybe you feel like your dreams are too far away, but I declare to you, your future is in God's hands. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. No economy can cancel what He has planned for you. No government can erase His purpose for your life. No enemy can stop the assignment He has placed on you. The problem is not the future, the problem is our faith. If you believe that your future is in your own hands, you will always live in stress. But if you believe that your future is in God's hands, you will walk in confidence. You will move in boldness. You will stand firm even when storms come, because you know that the one who holds your future is faithful. Some of you have been crying about what you lost. You have been weeping over missed opportunities. But I came to tell you, God is not finished with you yet. He knows how to restore what was stolen. He knows how to open doors that were shut. He knows how to reposition you for something greater. Do not put your trust in man. Do not put your trust in circumstances. Do not put your trust in your own strength. Put your trust in the one who holds your destiny in His hands. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You were created for purpose, and God's purpose cannot be destroyed. Your responsibility is not to figure out how the future will unfold. Your responsibility is to obey Him today. Walk by faith, not by sight. Move forward with confidence, not with fear. Serve with excellence, not with doubt. When you do your part, God will do His. The world is filled with uncertainty, but God is never uncertain. The world changes, but He never changes. If He said He has a plan for you, trust that plan. If He said He will make a way, believe that way is already being made. If He said He will bless you, walk like you are already blessed. The future is not in your hands. It is in God's hands. And when you place your life in His hands, you are in the safest place you could ever be. Trust Him, follow Him, and watch Him take you where you never imagined. Before you took your first breath, before your name was ever spoken, before you even had a chance to dream, God had already written your future. You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence. You were intentionally designed by a Creator who knew exactly why He made you and what He planned for you to accomplish. The future is not something you have to figure out on your own, because God has already ordained it. Your responsibility is not to create your destiny. It is to discover it and walk in obedience to it. God told the prophet Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That means your future was established before your past even began. Your life is not a result of chance or luck, but of divine intention. Everything about you, your gifts, your personality, your strengths, and even your struggles has been factored into the plan God has for your life. Too often people spend their time worrying about what tomorrow holds, questioning whether they will succeed or fail, wondering if they are on the right path. But the truth is, God has already determined the course of your life, and nothing can alter his divine purpose for you. When you understand that your future is in God's hands, it changes the way you live. You no longer have to operate in fear. You no longer have to compare yourself to others or strive to be something you were never meant to be. You don't have to chase success, because success is not something you manufacture. It is something you step into when you align with God's will. The problem is that many people spend their time trying to design their own destiny instead of surrendering to the one God has already prepared. They try to manipulate circumstances, control outcomes, and force doors open. But what God has for you does not require manipulation. It only requires faith. The fact that God has already ordained your future also means that nothing you have been through is wasted. Some people believe that because they have failed, because they have made mistakes, because they have taken detours in life, they have ruined their destiny. But God is not limited by your past. He is not confused by your mistakes. He already knew every decision you would make, and he still called you. He still chose you. He still has a purpose for you. In fact, what you thought was a setback may actually be a setup for what God is about to do next. Think about Joseph in the Bible. God gave him a vision of his future, but everything that happened in his life seemed to contradict that vision. He was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. But despite all of this, the plan of God for his life never changed. No betrayal, no false accusation, and no hardship could cancel what God had ordained. At the right time, God elevated him to the position of leadership he had destined for him all along. If Joseph's future was in his own hands, he would have been stuck in bitterness, anger, and frustration. But because he understood that God was in control, he remained faithful. And in the end, he stepped into the destiny that had been prepared for him. The same is true for you. No matter where you are today, your future is not determined by your circumstances. It is determined by God's plan. And that plan cannot be stopped by people, by mistakes, or by challenges. What God has spoken over your life will come to pass, but it requires trust. It requires surrender. You may not always understand why certain things happen. You may not see the full picture, but you must believe that the one who created you has already gone ahead of you, preparing the way. God does not make mistakes. He does not create without purpose, and he does not abandon what he starts. You are a part of his divine plan, and everything you need to fulfill your purpose has already been placed inside you. But you must stop trying to take control of what belongs to him. When you try to force things to happen in your own strength, you become frustrated. But when you surrender, when you say, Lord, I trust you with my future, that is when you find peace. That is when you find clarity. That is when you begin to walk in the fullness of your purpose. The enemy wants you to believe that your future is uncertain, that you must struggle and strive to secure your destiny. But the truth is, your future is already secured in God. He is not figuring things out as you go. He is not making adjustments based on circumstances. He has already written the script, and it is a script of victory. The challenge is that you may not always understand the process. There will be seasons when things do not make sense. There will be times when it feels like nothing is happening. But in those moments, you must remember that God is always working, even when you cannot see it. Abraham was given a promise that he would be the father of many nations. But years went by and he saw no evidence of that promise coming to pass. He could have doubted, he could have given up, but instead he chose to believe that God was faithful. And in due time, what God had spoken came to pass. The future God has for you is not based on human timelines. It is not limited by natural circumstances. What he has planned will come to pass at the appointed time. This is why you must walk in faith. The enemy will try to distract you with worry, with fear, with doubt. But your responsibility is not to figure out how everything will work. It is to trust that God has already worked it out. Instead of worrying about tomorrow, focus on obeying God today. Seek Him. Serve Him. Walk in obedience and trust that He will lead you exactly where you need to be. Your future is in His hands, and His hands are the safest place you could ever be. Fear is a silent thief. It creeps into the hearts of people and robs them of their peace, their confidence, and their joy. It makes them doubt their potential, second guess their decisions, and hesitate when they should be moving forward. But the greatest deception of fear is that it convinces people that their future depends on them, that they are responsible for determining every outcome, and that if they don't have all the answers, they are destined for failure. This is the reason so many people live under stress, frustration, and anxiety. They believe that their success or failure is in their own hands, so they carry burdens they were never meant to bear. But the truth is, your future does not belong to you, it belongs to God. You were never meant to navigate life on your own, trying to figure out what happens next. The reason so many people feel overwhelmed is that they are trying to control something that is beyond their capacity to manage. They worry about things they cannot change. They stress over situations that are completely outside of their power. But the moment you realize that your future is in God's hands, the weight of fear begins to lift. You no longer have to wake up every day wondering if you are doing enough, if you are good enough, if you are capable enough. Because when God is the one writing your story, you can be sure that He will finish what He started. Look around the world today. People are constantly in fear of what will happen next. The economy fluctuates, governments rise and fall, unexpected tragedies shake the nations, and people feel powerless. They fear losing their jobs, losing their health, losing their stability. But fear only thrives where faith is absent. When you truly understand that God is in control, fear loses its power over you. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you know the one who holds tomorrow. You may not understand the process, but you trust the one who has already designed the outcome. One of the biggest lies the enemy tells people is that their future is uncertain. He makes them believe that they must fight for their destiny, that they must struggle to secure their place, that they must constantly prove their worth to be successful. But when God is the one who holds your future, no one can take what He has prepared for you. No person, no failure, no mistake, no opposition can cancel what God has spoken over your life. If He has destined you for greatness, then greatness is inevitable. If He has planned for you to rise, then no force in hell can keep you down. Too often, people allow fear to paralyze them. They become afraid of taking risks, afraid of stepping out in faith, afraid of moving beyond their comfort zones. But God never called you to live in fear. He called you to walk in confidence, knowing that your future is already secure in Him. The reason fear dominates so many lives is that people focus too much on what they can see. They look at their bank accounts, their circumstances, their abilities, and their resources, and they measure their future by what is in their hands instead of what is in God's hands. But God never operates based on what you see. He operates based on what He has already planned. Think about the story of the Israelites when they stood at the edge of the Red Sea. Behind them was the Egyptian army, and in front of them was an impossible obstacle. Fear filled their hearts because in the natural there was no way out. But what they didn't realize was that their future was not in their hands. It was in God's hands. He had already made a way before they even arrived at the sea. What seemed like an impossible situation was just another opportunity for God to reveal his power. And with one command, he parted the waters and made a path where there was none. This is why you cannot let fear dictate your decisions. Fear tells you to stay where you are because moving forward is too risky. Fear tells you to give up because success is uncertain. Fear tells you that you are not qualified, not talented enough, not strong enough, not smart enough. But fear is a liar. If God has placed a dream in your heart, he has already made provision for it. If he has given you a vision, he has already prepared the resources to bring it to pass. If he has called you to a purpose, he has already cleared the path ahead of you. The problem is never the future. The problem is our faith. God is always ready to fulfill his promises. But many people miss out on what he has prepared because they allow fear to keep them stuck. They spend their lives waiting for the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunities, the perfect timing. But faith does not wait for everything to be perfect. Faith moves even when things don't make sense. Faith steps out when fear says to sit down. Faith believes when logic says it's impossible. Faith trusts when circumstances say it will never happen. The moment you decide to put your future in God's hands, everything changes. You stop worrying about things you cannot control. You stop stressing over situations that are beyond your ability to fix. You start walking in boldness, knowing that you are not alone. The same God who spoke the universe into existence is the same God who has written your future. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who fed thousands with just a few loaves of bread, who raised the dead, is the same God who is guiding your steps. He has never failed, and he will not start now. So stop allowing fear to control your life. Stop letting doubt steal your dreams. Stop trying to hold on to something that was never meant to be in your hands. Your future is in God's hands, and there is no safer place to be. Walk in faith. Move forward with confidence, and trust that he who has begun a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. No obstacle can block God's plan for your life. No force on earth, no opposition, no setback, and no delay can cancel what he has ordained for you. When God speaks a word over your life, it is final. It does not matter who doubts you, who rejects you, or who stands against you. The only thing that can stop you from stepping into your God-given future is your own unwillingness to believe and obey. When you truly understand that God's plans cannot be stopped, you stop fearing the obstacles in front of you. You stop worrying about the limitations that others place on you. You stop doubting whether you are capable enough or strong enough, because you know that it is not about your strength. It is about his power working through you. People often allow circumstances to dictate their confidence in God's plan. They look at their challenges and start to believe that maybe they have been forgotten. Maybe the promise won't come to pass. Maybe they are not good enough. But obstacles are not a sign that God has abandoned you. In fact, many times, obstacles are an indication that you are on the right path. If Joseph had looked at his situation from a human perspective, he would have thought that his dreams were never going to come true. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. If he had judged his future by his circumstances, he would have believed that he was a failure. But what he could not see at the time was that every obstacle was a part of God's plan to elevate him. What the enemy meant for evil, God was using for good. Your setbacks are not the end of your story. What looks like a delay is often a divine setup. God does not make mistakes, and he does not allow anything in your life without a purpose. If you are facing opposition, do not be discouraged. The presence of obstacles does not mean the absence of God. In fact, the greater the opposition, the greater the purpose. When David stood before Goliath, it seemed impossible that a shepherd boy could defeat a giant. The odds were against him. But the battle was never about David's strength. It was about God's power. Goliath was not an obstacle, he was a door. Without Goliath, David would have remained an unknown shepherd. But because he trusted God, that battle became the moment that launched him into his destiny. Some of the things you are facing right now are not there to stop you. They are there to reveal God's power in your life. The enemy wants you to believe that your difficulties are a sign that God's plan is failing. But God wants you to see that your difficulties are actually positioning you for something greater. Every time you trust Him in the middle of a challenge, your faith grows stronger. Every time you choose to believe instead of fear, you step closer to the future He has for you. God does not waste pain. He does not allow struggles without purpose. If you are walking through a storm, do not be discouraged. If you stay faithful, you will see that what was meant to destroy you will actually elevate you. Many people give up too soon because they do not understand this truth. They allow temporary struggles to make them quit on permanent promises. They see difficulty as a sign to turn back instead of a sign to push forward. But if you study Scripture, you will find that every person God used in a mighty way faced great challenges. Moses had to stand before Pharaoh. Esther had to risk her life before the king. Paul had to endure imprisonment. And Jesus himself had to endure the cross. But in every case, what seemed like an obstacle was actually a divine setup for victory. This is why you cannot allow obstacles to define your faith. You must learn to walk by faith, not by sight. If you only trust God when things are easy, then your faith is weak. Real faith trusts God in the fire, in the storm, in the prison, in the wilderness. Real faith believes even when nothing seems to be working. God never promised that the journey would be easy, but He did promise that you would reach your destination. There are people who have allowed a single failure to make them quit. They tried once and it didn't work, so they assumed God was not with them. But failure is not the end of the story. Just because something didn't work the first time does not mean it is over. The Bible says that a righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up again. The question is not whether you will face difficulties. The question is whether you will rise again when they come. If you could see your future the way God sees it, you would never doubt again. If you could see the doors He is about to open, the favor He is about to release, the breakthroughs that are just ahead, you would walk with confidence. But the reason God does not show you everything in advance is that He wants you to trust Him. He wants you to believe even when you cannot see. He wants you to keep moving forward even when the road is unclear. Nothing can stop God's plan for your life, but you must be willing to walk in faith. The enemy will try to discourage you, but you must choose to keep believing. People may doubt you, but you must choose to trust in what God has spoken. Circumstances may seem impossible, but you must remember that nothing is impossible for God. The plan He has for you is greater than anything you could imagine. He is preparing you, shaping you, refining you, and positioning you for the promise. The obstacles you see today will one day be the testimony that proves God's faithfulness in your life. What He has started, He will finish, and no force on earth can stop it. Faith is the key to unlocking your future. Without faith, you will always live in fear. Without faith, you will hesitate when you should move forward. Without faith, you will remain stuck in places you were never meant to stay. Faith is not just a feeling. It is a decision to trust God even when you cannot see the outcome. It is choosing to walk forward when the path is unclear. It is believing that what God has spoken will come to pass even when circumstances seem to say otherwise. Faith does not require evidence. It does not need physical proof. Faith moves even when nothing seems to be happening. This is why the Bible says we walk by faith, not by sight. If you only believe when things are easy, that is not faith, that is comfort. Faith is trusting God when everything around you looks the opposite of what He promised. It is standing firm when storms are raging. It is choosing to declare victory even when defeat seems inevitable. Many people miss their destiny because they refuse to walk in faith. They wait for certainty before they move. They want everything to be guaranteed before they take a step. But that is not how God operates. He does not give you all the details in advance. He does not show you every step of the journey before you begin. He simply says, trust me. And those who trust Him are the ones who see His power in their lives. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place that He would show him. Abraham had no map, no clear destination, just a promise. He had to walk in faith, believing that God would guide him as he moved forward. And because he trusted God, he became the father of many nations. But what if he had refused to move? What if he had waited for more details? He would have missed the future that God had already prepared for him. Faith is not just about believing, it is about acting on that belief. You can say you trust God, but if you refuse to step out when He calls you, then your actions prove otherwise. Too many people have faith in their words, but not in their walk. They say they believe in God's promises, but when it is time to move, they hesitate. They let fear stop them. They let doubt creep in. They let obstacles intimidate them. But real faith does not stop when things look difficult. Real faith moves forward, knowing that God will make a way. This is why the enemy attacks your faith. He knows that if he can weaken your faith, he can keep you from stepping into the future God has for you. He will whisper lies that make you doubt God's promises. He will magnify your challenges to make them seem bigger than God's power. He will use fear to paralyze you so that you never take the steps necessary to reach your destiny. But you must fight back with faith. When the enemy tells you it is impossible, declare that with God all things are possible. When fear tells you to quit, remind yourself that God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When doubt tells you that you are not good enough, stand on the truth that God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. Faith is the difference between those who fulfill their purpose and those who live in regret. Some people will stand before God one day and realize that they never reached their full potential, not because God's plan failed, but because they refused to believe. They allowed fear to control them. They waited too long. They hesitated when they should have moved. But God is looking for people who will trust Him fully. People who will step out even when they do not have all the answers. People who will walk in faith even when the path is unclear. When Peter saw Jesus walking on the water, he asked if he could come to him. Jesus said, "Come." In that moment, Peter had a choice. He could stay in the boat where it was safe, or he could step out in faith. And for a moment, Peter walked on water. He did what was impossible because he was focused on Jesus. But the moment he looked at the waves, fear took over and he began to sink. This is what happens when you take your eyes off God and focus on your problems. The moment you let fear override your faith, you start sinking. But even then, when Peter cried out for help, Jesus reached out and saved him. This proves that even when your faith wavers, God is still there to lift you up. Faith is not about never feeling fear. It is about refusing to let fear control you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of it. When God calls you to do something, Fear will always try to talk you out of it. Fear will tell you that you are not ready. It will tell you that you are not qualified. It will remind you of every past failure. But faith says, if God called me, then he will equip me. If God promised it, then he will bring it to pass. If God is for me, then nothing can stand against me. Your future is not in your hands. It is in God's hands. But the key to unlocking that future is faith. If you do not trust him, you will delay his plan for your life. If you do not obey, you will miss opportunities that were meant for you. But if you believe, if you step out in faith, if you move when he says move, then you will see miracles. You will see doors open that no one can shut. You will walk in favor that you did not earn. You will enter into the destiny that was written for you before you were even born. Faith is what activates God's promises. It is what turns potential into reality. It is what separates those who talk about greatness from those who actually step into it. The question is not whether God has a future for you. The question is whether you have the faith to step into it. Will you trust him when things are uncertain? Will you obey him when the path is unclear? Will you believe when everything in the natural says it is impossible? Because if you do, then nothing can stop you from reaching the destiny that God has already prepared. Obedience is the bridge between where you are and where God is taking you. It is not enough to know that your future is in God's hands. You must be willing to follow his direction. Many people miss their destiny not because God's plan failed, but because they refused to obey his instructions. They prayed for guidance, but when God spoke, they hesitated. They asked for doors to open, but when the opportunity came, they allowed fear and doubt to hold them back. But obedience is not optional when it comes to fulfilling your purpose. It is the very key that unlocks the future God has prepared for you. God does not give instructions without a purpose. When he tells you to move, it is because he has already prepared the next step. When he tells you to wait, it is because he is working behind the scenes. When he tells you to let go, it is because he has something better in store. But too often, people try to negotiate with God. They want to obey on their terms, at their convenience, and in their own timing. They want the promise without the process. But faith is not just about believing, it is about obeying, even when you do not understand. Look at Noah. God told him to build an ark when there was no sign of rain. From a human perspective, it did not make sense. People mocked him, questioned him, and probably called him crazy. But Noah obeyed. He did not wait for visible evidence. He trusted that if God said it, it would come to pass. His obedience saved him and his family. Imagine what would have happened if he had waited until he saw the first drop of rain before starting. It would have been too late. Delayed obedience is disobedience. When God speaks, you must act, even when it does not make sense. Some people wonder why they feel stuck in life. They pray for God to move, but they refuse to follow the last instruction he gave them. They ask for new opportunities, but ignore the steps he already told them to take. God will not give you the next step if you have not obeyed the last one. He is not obligated to reveal the full picture. He only requires you to take the step he has placed in front of you. Every act of obedience moves you closer to your destiny. Every step you take in faith leads you further into God's purpose for your life. Abraham had to leave his home without knowing where he was going. Moses had to stretch out his staff over the Red Sea before the waters parted. Joshua had to march around Jericho before the walls fell. Peter had to cast his net into the water before the miraculous catch happened. Every miracle in the Bible was preceded by an act of obedience. God's power is released when people take him at his word and act accordingly. The problem with many people is that they want certainty before they obey. They want to see the outcome before they take the step. But that is not how faith works. God often requires you to move first. and then he reveals the results. He does not give you all the answers in advance because he wants you to trust him. If you knew every detail beforehand, there would be no need for faith. The reason he only shows you one step at a time is because he wants you to depend on him, not on your own understanding. Obedience requires trust. When God asks you to do something difficult, do you trust that he knows what he is doing? When he asks you to leave something behind, do you trust that he has something better ahead? When he asks you to step out of your comfort zone, do you trust that he will provide everything you need? Your willingness to obey is a reflection of your faith. If you truly believe that your future is in God's hands, then you will obey without hesitation. Many people have missed their blessings because they were unwilling to obey. They let fear hold them back. They let doubt creep in. They listen to the opinions of others instead of listening to God's voice. But obedience is better than sacrifice. It does not matter how much you pray if you are unwilling to obey. It does not matter how much you declare your faith if your actions do not align with your words. God honors obedience. When you follow his instructions, he makes a way where there is no way. He opens doors that no one can shut. He provides resources that you never expected. Some instructions from God will not make sense in the moment. He may tell you to give when you feel like you need more. He may tell you to walk away from something that looks good. He may tell you to forgive someone who hurt you. But obedience is not about understanding, it is about trust. You may not see the full picture, but God does. You may not understand why he is leading you in a certain direction, but he knows what is best. Every act of obedience is positioning you for the blessings he has prepared. The enemy will always try to convince you to delay your obedience. He will whisper lies, telling you that it is not the right time, that you are not ready, that you need more confirmation. But delayed obedience is still disobedience. Every time you hesitate, you give the enemy room to plant doubt and fear. But when you obey immediately, you shut the door to the enemy's tactics. You step into divine alignment. You place yourself in position for the fulfillment of God's promises. If you want to walk in the fullness of your destiny, you must be willing to obey God completely. Partial obedience is still disobedience. If he tells you to move, do not stay. If he tells you to stay, do not move. If he tells you to give, do not hold back. Your future is already secure in his hands. But you must be willing to take the steps he is asking you to take. God is not looking for perfect people. He is looking for obedient people. He does not expect you to have all the answers. He simply wants you to trust him. He is not asking you to figure everything out. He is asking you to follow his lead. If you will trust and obey, you will see his power manifest in your life in ways you never imagined. The doors you have been praying for will begin to open. The provision you have been waiting for will come. The breakthroughs you have been believing for will happen. But it all starts with obedience. The question is not whether God has a future for you. The question is whether you are willing to obey him completely, without hesitation, without compromise, and without delay. Because when you do, nothing will be able to stop you from walking in the fullness of his divine plan. Your future is not in your hands. It is in God's hands. No obstacle, no delay, no opposition, and no human opinion can stop what he has already ordained for you. The only thing that can hinder you is your own unwillingness to trust, believe, and obey. Faith is the key that unlocks his promises. But faith without action is dead. You must be willing to step out when he calls, to move forward even when you cannot see the full picture, and to trust that his plans are greater than anything you could ever imagine. God does not waste pain, nor does he make mistakes. Every challenge, every delay, and every detour has a purpose. What seems like a setback is often a setup for something greater. The enemy may try to use fear, doubt, and obstacles to discourage you, But when you keep your eyes on God, nothing can shake you. He has already gone before you. He has already made the way. Your responsibility is to walk in faith, to obey his instructions, and to refuse to be ruled by fear.
We live in a world where everyone is eager to talk, to share their plans, and to announce their ambitions. But today I want to challenge that mindset. Never tell people what you do, and let your actions speak louder than your words. You see, most people are quick to boast about their plans or the things they are about to do, but the reality is, when you reveal your plans to others, you risk inviting unnecessary interference or criticism. People may not understand your vision, they may not see the value in what you are trying to build, and often their doubts will reflect onto you. But here's the secret: the fewer people know your plans, the fewer distractions you'll face. Focus becomes sharper when your intentions remain your own. God has designed you for greatness, and he has placed within you a unique purpose. But purpose requires preparation, and preparation requires focus. When you are building something great, whether it's a business, a ministry, or a personal transformation, the last thing you need is the opinions of others clouding your mind. Understand this: silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a tool of strength. Consider the seeds that are planted in the earth. They don't announce their arrival to the world. They are buried in the ground, hidden from sight. But they begin to grow, form roots, and reach upwards. The moment the seed breaks through the soil, it is ready to bear fruit. In the same way, you must nurture your dreams in silence. Your growth should be rooted in the strength of your vision, not in the validation of others. There is a level of power that comes when you let your results speak for themselves. People will see what you have done and begin to ask, how did you accomplish that? At that point, you can share your story. But until then, protect your vision with silence and patience. Your journey should not be a public spectacle. It should be a quiet and steady progression toward greatness. Keep moving forward with diligence, with integrity, and with purpose. Too often, we share our dreams too soon with the wrong people, seeking validation and approval. But validation should come from within, from your belief in yourself and your trust in the process. The world does not need to know what you are doing until it is time to reveal it. And even then, it should be a revelation, not an explanation. So, revelation does not need to be true. Validation and the support of others. Remember, it is better to surprise people with the results of your hard work than to boast about what you plan to do. Let your life be the proof of your vision. Let the fruit of your labor speak for you. The greatest leaders in history were not those who constantly announced their plans, but those who remained focused, committed, and determined. They did the work, and their results became their testimony. So, as you continue on your path to greatness, remember that silence is not only golden, it is powerful. Protect your dreams, guard your vision, and let your actions be the testimony of your purpose. Don't allow the noise of the world to distract you. Keep moving forward. Let your results speak. And remember that sometimes the less you say, the more powerful you become. There's a power in silence that most people fail to understand. In a world where everyone is eager to share their thoughts, plans, and actions, there's a unique strength in choosing to remain silent about your intentions.
Silence is often seen as passive or lacking, but in reality, it holds incredible power. It is not about being timid or shy. It is about understanding that not every thought or plan needs to be broadcasted. When you speak less, you conserve your energy. You shield your vision from premature judgment, and you allow your actions to be the true reflection of your intentions. When you remain silent about your goals and aspirations, you protect them from external opinions, which can often serve as a distraction. Many times when we share our plans with others, we invite unwanted commentary or criticism that can derail our progress. People may not understand the depth of your vision or the sacrifices you're willing to make to see it through. The world will offer its opinions, but not all of them will align with your purpose. Number 2, silence allows you to work without the need for validation. It gives you the space to develop your plans in peace, free from the noise of the world. The world around us is constantly talking. It is always busy, always rushing to share its latest news, ideas, or gossip. In the midst of this noise, silence becomes a rare and powerful tool. When you choose not to tell people what you are doing, you remove yourself from the distractions that come with unnecessary chatter. You take back control over what you allow into your mind and heart. Silence gives you the strength to stay focused on what truly matters: your work, your growth, and your vision. Consider the power of stillness in nature. The most profound changes in the world often happen quietly. Think of how the seeds grow in the soil. They don't need to announce their presence. They simply begin their work in silence. Underneath the surface, they're gathering strength. And when the time comes, they break through, revealing the fruits of their labor. Your journey should be no different. And the foundation of your success, the growth of your purpose, should happen quietly without the need for recognition. When you work in silence, you are allowing the process of growth to unfold naturally without interference. Silence is also a form of protection. When you speak about your plans before they are fully formed or before you are ready to act, you expose yourself to the opinions of others. These opinions, often based on their own fears, limitations, or misunderstandings, can influence your decisions. Silence allows you to maintain control over your vision, keeping it intact until the right moment to reveal it. It is in this protected space that your dreams can take root, grow, and flourish without being subjected to the weight of external influences. In every area of life, we are told that communication is key, that we must express ourselves and make our voices heard. But true power comes not from what we say, but from what we do. When you keep your plans to yourself, you save your energy and focus for the real work. Let your results speak for you. Let your actions and achievements be the testimony of your effort. There is a time to speak, but the power often lies in the restraint of silence. It's about knowing when to hold back, to keep your vision private, and to allow your work. When you reveal your plans too early, you risk inviting unnecessary interference. The truth is, people often don't understand the full picture of what you are trying to accomplish, especially when your vision is still in its infancy. Everyone has their own experiences, their own biases, and their own limited perspective. When you open yourself up to the opinions of others too soon, you expose your vision to a range of interpretations that may not align with what you're working toward. What may seem like a well-intentioned suggestion to someone could end up as a distraction that leads you astray. By sharing your plans too early, you allow others to impose their fears and doubts onto you. People who have not walked the same path may look at your dreams and see them as unrealistic or unattainable. They might tell you it's impossible, or that you don't have the resources, the experience, or the support to achieve it. They might not realize that your vision is not just an idea, but something you felt deeply in your heart, something that's been developing over time. But instead of encouraging you, their words can plant seeds of doubt that could affect your belief in your own ability. Interference can come from unexpected places, family, friends, even well-meaning mentors. People who love you may project their own limitations onto you out of fear for your safety, your stability, or your well-being. While their concern comes from a place of care, it can still be limiting. The truth is, your journey is unique. What they may have never experienced in their own lives, you are called to achieve. When you reveal your plans too soon, their doubts become your burdens. They may unintentionally pull you down from the heights you're trying to reach because they can't see what you see. Additionally, by sharing your plans, you open yourself up to the influence of people who may not have your best interests at heart. Not everyone who hears your dreams will support them. Some may feel threatened by your ambition, your growth, or your success. These individuals may try to undermine your efforts or sabotage your progress in subtle ways. They may sow seeds of doubt in your mind or in the minds of others, preventing you from receiving the support you need. The danger of revealing your plans too early is not just the opinions of others, but the potential for negative energy to derail your progress. There's a saying that you should protect your peace, and one of the best ways to do so is by keeping your dreams to yourself until they are ready to be shared with the world. The fewer people you tell, the fewer distractions you will face. When you share your plans prematurely, you risk allowing negative energy, judgment, and unwanted advice to cloud your thinking and stop you from staying on the course. The more people you share your plans with, the more you invite complications into your life. People will question your choices, second-guess your decisions, and weigh in on matters that are none of their business. This can quickly lead to confusion, uncertainty, and a lack of clarity. You need to be able to hear your own thoughts clearly, and when you let others weigh in on your plans too soon, it can drown out your inner voice, the voice that knows what's best for you. Amen. Ultimately, sharing your plans before they are ready can be a hindrance rather than a help. It can slow your momentum, create doubt, and fill your mind with conflicting voices. The truth is, sometimes the best thing you can do for your vision is to keep it to yourself. Protect it, nurture it, and allow it to grow without interference. The world will know what you've accomplished when it's time, but until then, keep your plans to yourself. Let your work speak for you, and let your journey be your testimony. When you choose to keep your plans to yourself, it allows you to maintain a level of focus that would otherwise be difficult to achieve. In a world full of distractions, it is easy to become sidetracked by the opinions, expectations, and demands of others. Every time you share your ambitions, you open the door to external influences that may divert your attention from the path you've set. The more you talk about your goals, the more likely you are to be pulled in different directions, causing you to lose sight of the one thing that matters most: your purpose. Focus is a powerful force. It is the ability to direct all of your energy, all of your attention toward a single goal. It is the force that allows you to block out the noise and remain committed to your vision, no matter how challenging or uncertain the journey may seem. When you share your plans prematurely, you risk spreading your energy thin. The moment someone asks you about your goals, or the moment you begin explaining your plans to others, a part of your focus is no longer fully dedicated to the work itself. Your mind begins to shift from what you need to do to what others think you should do. This shift weakens your ability to stay clear and committed to the process. Zen. When you keep your plans private, you are in control of where your energy goes. Every thought, every decision, every action is directed at bringing your vision to life. There are no distractions from the opinions and judgments of others. You are free to move forward without the weight of other people's expectations. You don't have to explain yourself, and you certainly don't have to defend your decisions. The silence. This allows you to preserve the mental and emotional energy needed for the work that matters. The focus you maintain will become the foundation of your success. Consider how distractions take their toll. The more you share your plans, the more people will question or offer suggestions. This creates mental clutter. Instead of thinking about your next step, you start thinking about whether you should incorporate someone else's advice or whether your idea is good enough. It creates doubt, and doubt erodes focus. It's easy to get caught up in trying to appease others or take their feedback to heart, especially when it comes from people you respect. But the truth is, not all advice is valuable, and not all feedback will help you grow. Some of it may even hinder your progress by diverting you from the vision that is uniquely yours. So, staying focused requires you to block out everything that does not contribute to your goal. When you don't tell people what you're doing, you create a shield around your purpose. You become less susceptible to the opinions of others and more immersed in the process of turning your dream into reality. With each passing day, you are making progress without the pressure to explain, justify, or gain approval. You are simply moving forward, one step at a time, without the distractions that often accompany external validation. Think about the most successful people in history. Their focus was laser sharp. They didn't waste time explaining their next move or discussing their future plans with others. They had a clear vision, and they dedicated every ounce of their energy to manifesting that vision. Whether it was a scientist, an entrepreneur, or an artist, the most accomplished individuals are those who were able to block out the distractions and focus entirely on the work at hand. They knew that the real work happens in the quiet, in the preparation, and in the execution. Sharing your plans too early divides your focus, while keeping them to yourself allows you to keep that focus intact and channel all your energy into making your dreams come true. Focus is the key to overcoming obstacles. Every challenge you face along the way demands that you stay focused, that you keep your eyes on the goal, and that you don't allow setbacks to divert your attention. If you constantly have to justify your actions or explain your choices to others, you will be pulled in 100 different directions. But when you are focused on your vision, the obstacles become less daunting, the doubts less persuasive, and the challenges less intimidating. Setback. Focus gives you the mental clarity to keep pushing forward, regardless of the obstacles in your path. In the end, keeping your plans to yourself is a way of protecting your focus. It allows you to keep your mind and heart dedicated to what truly matters, free from distractions and the external forces that often slow us down. The more you focus on your vision, the more momentum you build. And with momentum comes progress. The work you do in silence, in the absence of outside influence, will speak for itself when the time is right. The strength you gain from maintaining your focus will be the foundation upon which your success is built. When God gives you a purpose, He doesn't give it to you to share with the world immediately. That purpose, that calling, is personal, and it requires time, preparation, and a deep understanding of the vision He has entrusted to you. You see, purpose is not something that comes to fruition overnight. It is a journey, a process that requires patience, discipline, and sometimes even solitude. Sharing your purpose too soon without the proper preparation can lead to a lack of clarity, confusion, and unnecessary pressure. Preparation is essential to fulfilling your purpose. The plans you have, the dreams you carry are like seeds that need to be nurtured and allowed to grow in their own time. Just as you don't see a tree growing from a seed immediately, the work required to bring your purpose into fruition happens slowly and steadily. If you try to rush that process by telling others what you are doing too soon, you risk placing unnecessary expectations on yourself. You may feel pressure to live up to the image of success others have of you, when in reality you are still in the stage of planting and cultivating. But you are in the apple origin. Be the apple you are and more. Purpose requires careful consideration and the willingness to put in the hard work necessary for growth. When God calls you to do something, it is a personal mandate that requires your full attention and dedication. It's not about impressing others with your ideas or rushing to make it known. It's about focusing on the deep internal work that will prepare you for the manifestation of your vision. The process of preparation is where you build your strength, knowledge, and resilience. It's where you refine your skills and grow your character. During this time, you need to be able to reflect, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward, without the added pressure of seeking external approval or validation. In the early stages of pursuing your purpose, clarity is essential. You may not yet fully understand how your purpose will unfold, and that's okay. It takes time to hear God's voice clearly and to trust His plan. The more you share your purpose with others, the more likely you are to dilute that clarity. People will offer suggestions, advice, and opinions, and while some of it may be helpful, much of it can confuse you or take you off course. This is not to say that counsel from others is invaluable, but there's a season of solitude and quiet where you must seek God's guidance above all. It's a time when your relationship with your Creator is crucial, and the opinions of others should not cloud that connection. As you prepare for the fulfillment of your purpose, The work you do in private becomes the foundation for everything that will be seen in the future. This is the time to refine your vision, to align your actions with your values, and to lay the groundwork that will support your success. The external world may not understand this stage, but that's okay. The vision God gave you is for you to carry and nurture. It's not for you to explain or justify before it's time. In the quiet, as you prepare and work diligently behind the scenes, you are positioning yourself for success. And when that time comes, when the vision is ready to be revealed, it will be undeniable. The preparation will show itself in your actions, in your character, and in the strength that will carry you through the challenges ahead. If you try to shortcut this process by revealing your purpose too soon, you risk rushing through the most important stage, the preparation. Without preparation, you will not be ready for the challenges that come with fulfilling your purpose. You need to be prepared for the battles, the setbacks, and the sacrifices that will come. The time of preparation is where you build the endurance needed to handle the weight of your purpose. It's in those private moments when no one is watching that your faith is strengthened, your skills are honed, and your commitment to the journey deepens. Purpose is not about a quick rise to the top or seeking instant recognition. It's about a long-term commitment to seeing God's plan unfold in your life. It requires the wisdom to know that there is a season of preparation that must not be rushed. During this season, you must focus on what God is doing in your life, even if no one else understands or sees it. God is preparing you, molding you, and building you for what lies ahead. It's a quiet process, a sacred process, and one that demands patience and faith. The moment will come when you are ready to step into the fullness of your purpose. But that moment will be far more impactful when it is built on a solid foundation of preparation. When you share your plans with others, you open yourself up to not only the positive, but also the negative reactions that people may have. It's important to recognize that not everyone around you will understand your vision, and some may even try to sabotage your efforts. There is a power in silence, in keeping your intentions to yourself, because when you share your dreams too early, you invite both criticism and unwarranted scrutiny. In today's world, it's easy for people to express their doubts, fears, and insecurities, and these negative energies can become a serious distraction. Often, their words and actions are born out of their own limitations, not from a place of genuine concern for your success. People may criticize your ideas simply because they don't have the capacity to envision what you see. Their personal experiences, their own fears, and their struggles might cloud their judgment. They might not understand why you're doing what you're doing. And instead of supporting you, they might try to discourage you, either directly or indirectly. This can manifest in subtle ways. A remark, a question, or even a gesture of disbelief. While it might seem harmless, these criticisms can slowly erode your confidence, shaking your belief in the vision God has given you. The more you share, the more you're likely to encounter people who will challenge your direction, not out of malice, but simply because they cannot grasp the potential of your dream. The danger in sharing too much too soon is that these negative responses can affect your mental and emotional state. Every piece of criticism, every word of doubt can create a ripple effect in your mind. You may begin to question your decisions, your capabilities, and even the worthiness of your dream. This is particularly dangerous because it shifts your focus from the work at hand to defending your vision. Instead of spending time building and growing, you start to spend time explaining, justifying, and trying to win the approval of others. The result is that you end up expending energy on unnecessary battles, leaving little energy for what truly matters: the pursuit of your purpose. Additionally, when people don't understand your journey, they may feel compelled to give unsolicited advice. Sometimes this advice can be well-meaning, but it may not align with your vision. Every piece of advice you receive can alter the course of your actions, whether you realize it or not. It's important to remember that not all advice is valuable. People who haven't walked the same path you're on cannot possibly know all the nuances and the challenges of your journey. And then their advice is often based on their own experiences, and while it may work for them, it may not work for you. When you share your plans too early, you risk allowing other people's perspectives to overshadow your own intuition and understanding of what you need to do. There is also a spiritual aspect to keeping your plans private. Sharing too much too soon can expose your vision to spiritual opposition. Not everyone in your life has the same spiritual understanding or the same level of belief in your purpose. Sometimes, when you share your dreams with the wrong people, it can attract negative energy or even spiritual forces that seek to thwart your progress. You might find yourself facing unexpected obstacles, distractions, or even feelings of doubt that weren't there before. These forces often prey on the vulnerability that comes when you expose your plans to the world before they're ready to be revealed. The more you reveal your plans, the more you create opportunities for emotional manipulation. There are people in your life who may pretend to be supportive, but deep down they may wish to control your actions. They might try to make you feel guilty for pursuing your dreams, or manipulate your choices to serve their own interests. Keeping your plans to yourself helps you avoid these emotional games, ensuring that you stay in control of your decisions. Therefore, keeping your plans private shields you from unnecessary negativity. It allows you to protect your energy and focus solely on your work. The work that you are doing in silence is far more powerful than anything you could explain to someone who may not fully understand the depth of your vision. When the time is right, your success will speak for itself. The less you share in the early stages, the more you protect your progress from those who may try to derail it, intentionally or unintentionally. By keeping your plans close to your chest, you maintain control over your journey, and you can pursue your purpose with greater clarity, strength, and determination. Evil. When you keep your plans to yourself, you maintain the integrity of your vision. The moment you start sharing too much, you run the risk of allowing others to impose their ideas, beliefs, and expectations onto your path. Every time someone hears your vision, they begin to form opinions based on their own experiences, their own worldview, and sometimes their own insecurities. People will offer suggestions, solutions, and even challenges, but many of these will not align with the core of your purpose. It's important to recognize that your vision was given to you, not to them. It is uniquely yours, and you are the one entrusted with the responsibility to bring it to life. The more you share, the more you invite external forces to influence the purity of that vision. In a world filled with distractions and noise, it can be incredibly difficult to stay focused. Everyone has something to say. And in the age of social media and constant communication, it can feel like everyone wants a piece of your dream. But not every piece of advice is helpful. Not every comment is constructive. When you share your plans too early, you open yourself up to all kinds of opinions, some of which may be downright damaging. The truth is, many people will not understand why you're doing what you're doing, and they may not share your level of faith or belief in the outcome. Some will tell you it's impossible, others will question your motives, and some may even laugh or mock your aspirations. These voices, if allowed too much influence, can drown out your own conviction and weaken your resolve. The integrity of your vision lies in your ability to protect it from outside noise. When you keep your plans private, you create a space of clarity where you can hear your own thoughts and tune into God's guidance. In the absence of external distractions, you can be sure that the steps you're taking are in alignment with your true purpose. The moment you start letting others in on your plans, you begin to open the door for doubt and fear. You may feel pressure to justify your actions or explain the reasoning behind your decisions. But when your vision is under attack, or even under scrutiny, it can make it harder to stay true to the path that God has set for you. It's easy to lose focus when you're constantly trying to please everyone or explain yourself. A journey toward fulfilling your purpose requires unwavering faith. Faith is not something that can be easily swayed by the opinions of others. When you believe in your vision, when you trust that it has been planted within you by a higher power, there is a sense of security that comes with it. You don't need to defend your dream to anyone because you know that it was designed specifically for you. But this kind of unwavering faith is fragile, especially in the early stages. The more you share, the more likely it is that someone will question your vision or cause you to second guess yourself. Keeping your plans private allows you to protect that faith and fortify it with the work that you are doing in silence. There is also a temptation to seek validation when you reveal your plans. It's a natural human desire to want others to understand and appreciate your vision. But validation can be a double-edged sword. Seeking it from others can quickly turn into a cycle of dependence, where your sense of self-worth is tied to their approval. If you base your success on how others perceive it, you risk compromising your authenticity. Keeping your plans to yourself protects you from seeking validation that can divert your focus away from the true purpose behind your actions. The reality is, your vision may not make sense to anyone else, and that's okay. Not every idea is meant to be understood by others at first. The people around you may be trapped in their own limitations and fear, and they may not have the capacity to see what you see. This is why it's so important to protect the integrity of your vision by not sharing it too early. There's a time for public revelation, a time when the plan is fully formed and ready to be launched. But that time is not when it's still in its infancy, not when it's still taking shape and needs to be nurtured. When you share too much too soon, you may also risk oversaturating the idea. The excitement that comes from telling others can sometimes dilute the original enthusiasm you had for it. There is something sacred about keeping your purpose close to your heart during the early stages. It keeps the dream alive in its purest form, free from the opinions and judgments of others. As you nurture that vision, you also strengthen your ability to stand firm in it, even when faced with opposition. The integrity of your vision is what will carry you through the challenges. The more you protect it from the world, the more you allow it to grow and evolve without the interference of external forces. It's easy to get caught up in trying to convince others of the value of your ideas, but the truth is, you don't need anyone else's approval to move forward. What you need is the courage to protect your vision, to keep it sacred and undiluted until the time comes for it to stand on its own. Only then, when it's fully formed and ready, will it have the strength to withstand the scrutiny of others. And when it's finally revealed, it will stand as a testament to the faith, dedication, and protection you gave it during the quiet, hidden stages of its growth. When you keep your plans to yourself, you are, in essence, creating space for your dreams to grow without the influence of external judgment. The reality is, not everyone will be able to handle or even understand the magnitude of your aspirations. Dreams and visions are deeply personal, and they reflect not only your desires, but also your unique purpose and calling. There's a wisdom in protecting them, especially in the early stages, because revealing them too soon can expose them to criticism, ridicule, and doubt. Most people, especially those who haven't dared to dream big themselves, are quick to project their own fears and insecurities onto others. They might try to tear down your dream or convince you that it's unrealistic, not because they don't care, but because they are limited by their own experiences and beliefs. When you are just starting out, your vision is fragile. It's in its infancy, and it hasn't yet been fully developed. You have an idea of where you want to go, but it's not yet clear how everything will unfold. In this stage, you don't need to hear about all the reasons why your idea might not work or how others have failed in similar endeavors. These doubts can seep into your mind and cause you to question your own abilities, even if you initially felt confident in your path. There's power in keeping your plans to yourself, because it allows you to stay focused on nurturing the dream rather than defending it against criticism. When you share your plans too early, you invite a stream of opinions that are often based on fear rather than wisdom. And this can become a distraction that holds you back. When you hold your plans in silence, you also protect yourself from unnecessary emotional strain. You see, when you share your vision, especially with people who are not aligned with it, you expose yourself to their emotional responses. Some may feel threatened, some may feel envious, and some may even try to manipulate the situation to their advantage. These emotional reactions can be draining, taking away the energy you need to continue working on your goal. The constant need to explain or justify your actions can create a level of emotional turbulence that prevents you from staying focused on the real work at hand. Keeping your plans private allows you to conserve your emotional energy, giving you the peace of mind to think clearly and act decisively. This emotional protection extends to safeguarding your own mental state as well. When you share your dreams too early, you open yourself up to the expectations of others. People might ask when you're going to make things happen, or they might want to know all the details of your plan. While their questions might be innocent, they create pressure that you don't need. The longer you delay revealing your plans, the more you can avoid that pressure and allow your idea to develop at its own pace in its own time. Too many outside expectations can cloud your judgment and take you off course. When you keep your plans to yourself, you set your own timeline. You move at your own pace, and you aren't bound by the clock that others want to place on you. The value of privacy in your journey cannot be overstated. By keeping your plans to yourself, you allow them to grow organically, without the interference of people who might not have the right understanding or who are simply not in the same space as you. You may not need everyone's opinion, nor should you seek validation from others. Your dreams are not for them to decide. They are for you to fulfill. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking approval, of wanting others to understand your vision and share in your excitement. But you must remember that your vision is your own, and not everyone is meant to walk this path with you. You may find that some people, once you begin to pursue your dreams, will fall away, either because they don't understand your path or because they feel uncomfortable with your growth. This is a natural part of the process, and it's okay. Not everyone is meant to come along for the ride. By keeping your plans to yourself, you allow yourself the freedom to move forward without feeling tied down by others' opinions or expectations. Quote, there's also a divine aspect to keeping your plans private. Sometimes when God has given you a vision, it's meant to be worked out between you and Him before it is revealed to others. The journey of fulfilling that vision is often about growing in faith, patience, and perseverance. When you reveal your plans too soon, you might inadvertently short-circuit the process of personal growth that needs to happen first. You need time to become the person who can handle the responsibility that comes with the realization of your dream. If you rush into sharing it with others, you might not be fully prepared for the challenges and responsibilities that come with it. By waiting for the right moment to reveal your plans, you give yourself the opportunity to develop the strength, wisdom, and courage necessary to bring the dream to life. Keeping your plans to yourself also allows you to avoid the temptation of comparison. The world is full of distractions, and it's easy to look at others who are on a similar path and feel as though you are falling behind. When you share your plans prematurely, you may be tempted to compare your progress with others, or you might find yourself competing with people who are not even in your field. This comparison can be discouraging, and it often leads to feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. But when you keep your plans to yourself, you stay focused on your own journey. You don't waste time worrying about what others are doing or how fast they are moving. You stay centered in your own vision, and you trust that your time will come. By avoiding unnecessary distractions, you allow your path to unfold at its own pace, without the pressures of comparison. Ultimately, the power of keeping your plans to yourself is in the protection it offers you. Protection of your vision, your emotional energy, your mental clarity, and your divine purpose. When you keep your plans private, you create the space you need to grow, to make mistakes, to learn, and to succeed without the weight of external pressure. It's in this space that your dreams can truly flourish. When you choose to keep your plans to yourself, you shield your journey from unnecessary interference. Not everyone is capable of understanding your vision, and some might not even try to understand it. People often approach life through the lens of their own experiences, fears, and biases. They may be unable to comprehend your dream simply because they have never dared to dream that big themselves. Many people are so caught up in their own limitations, doubts, and struggles that they cannot see the potential in someone else's vision. When you share your plans prematurely, you risk facing discouragement, doubt, and sometimes outright negativity. It's not that they mean to harm you, but their lack of understanding can cause them to speak words that create seeds of doubt in your own mind. When you keep your plans to yourself, you create a barrier between your dream and the external world. This barrier acts as a shield, protecting your vision from being overly influenced by others' fears, doubts, and insecurities. It allows you to stay grounded in your belief, undistracted by the noise of others. You can stay true to your path without being pulled in different directions. The more you protect your vision, the more you create an environment where it can flourish independently of outside opinions and judgments. It also provides you with the space to truly grow in your belief in yourself and in your mission. The more you keep your plans to yourself, the more you strengthen your own internal compass, and the clearer your vision becomes. Furthermore, keeping your plans private allows you to be more selective about when and how you share them. There is a time to reveal your dreams to the world, but that time is not always when the vision is still forming. It is not always when the process is messy or uncertain. There is a time to act in silence, to work behind the scenes, and to let the results speak for themselves. When the time is right, your work will show the world what you've been building in private, and you will have the strength, the confidence, and the experience to back it up. This quiet period of personal development is where the real transformation happens. It's where your character is built, your resolve is tested, and your faith is made stronger. In the end, keeping your plans private isn't about hiding your dreams, it's about protecting them. It's about creating the space you need to nurture them, to develop them, and to build the strength required to see them through to fruition. When you do decide to reveal your dreams to the world, you will do so from a place of confidence, clarity, and strength, knowing that your vision has been solidified and that you have prepared yourself for whatever challenges lie ahead. Until that time comes, guard your vision with everything you have and let it grow in the quiet safety of your heart. When you choose to keep your plans to yourself, you create an environment of focused energy where distractions are minimized. This is not just about protecting your vision from others. It's also about protecting your mental, emotional, and spiritual energy. The moment you begin to share your plans with the wrong people or too many people, you inadvertently invite distractions into your life. The people who live in that state go through their life. These distractions can take many forms: opinions, judgments, questions, doubts, and even well-meaning advice that might derail you from your purpose. In the early stages of pursuing a goal, your energy needs to be fully concentrated on the task at hand, and revealing your plans can spread that energy too thin. You become diverted by the thoughts and reactions of others, and this dispersal of energy can lead to confusion and lack of clarity. You see, when you are clear about your vision and where you're heading, your energy is powerful. But the moment you start sharing your plans with too many people, especially those who are not in alignment with your goals, you risk diluting that clarity. People will offer their perspectives based on their own limitations, which may not have anything to do with your own path. They might not share the same mindset, and as a result, their input could create an unnecessary cloud of confusion. Yes, when you protect your plans, you can direct all your mental and emotional focus on moving forward without these external disruptions. In many cases, sharing your plans too early can cause you to start second-guessing yourself. You may feel the need to explain and justify your decisions, and this is a drain on your mental and emotional resources. You should not have to convince others that your dream is worthy, especially when it's still in its infancy. The more you focus on explaining your journey to others, the less energy you have to work on the actual realization of your dreams. It's a cycle that can lead to exhaustion, self-doubt, and eventual stagnation. The energy that should be going into making progress toward your goal is instead being spent on defending it or trying to get others on board. Keeping your plans private eliminates this unnecessary energy drain.